Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 204 of Manage the Wild. I'm your host, Nick Madsen. Thanks for being with me today. I did a little more research following up on yesterday's hunter pressure alters elk movement, and I asked a couple of questions, something that I wasn't particularly sure about. What happens when the pressure is so great, the disturbance is so great that we start pushing animals during the rut? Like right now, the elk rut here where I live in northern Utah is starting up. It's getting hot and heavy. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of hunters going out onto that landscape, but there's also some pressure coming from the ag side as they are starting to round up cattle, bring them off the range. So you got that whole thing going on. What's going to happen? Here's what I did. The research that I came across shows that there's going to be a shift in nocturnal behavior. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. I start hearing more bugling going on during at night. The animals start feeding and moving around at night. And this changes what they're used to. Their ability to stay away from predators can be altered, and they may not be able to feed as well. So there is going to be a little bit of change for them there. And during the day, they are sitting down in these tight holes where in the conifers, deep pockets, deep canyons, trying to get away. I also came across some articles that talked about reduced foraging opportunities because they're feeding at night. There is maybe not as much time available to them. There's that landscape of fear. If there's predators in the area and not just humans, that they're gonna have to be a little bit more vigilant. And so there's going to be a little bit of reduced feeding opportunity. And it depends on where the feed is compared to where they are. If they're having to move out of these deep pockets out, there may be some traveling going on, and so they're having to move quite a bit depending on where they're finding their forage. There's going to be some more energy expenditures because they're being pushed from one area to another. If you've got people going in after cattle, then they're going to be pushing these guys out into another area. And then if you've got a hunter in there chasing elk, then they're going to have to move. And so there's a lot more energy that they are expending versus just during their normal rut. Their normal rut's crazy for bulls anyways. The amount of energy that they are expending is just crazy. And oftentimes the elk after the rut are very weak. They need time to build up before wintertime, and sometimes they don't, and you start losing a lot of bulls. So this is one of the challenges, the extra expenditure of energy constantly moving away from that pressure. Also, I came across an article that talked about altered predator-prey dynamics. So if elk are becoming or start using their activity, basically, they become, holy cow, I can't speak. If they become more active at night, that nocturnal, then it's going to affect the way they are interacting with wolves and mountain lions. We don't have wolves, but they are going to adjust. And so you're going to have some altered things there where mountain lions may become a little bit more successful because they are holy cow, altered predator-prey dynamics. This may increase the amount or the success rate of the predators based upon how much we alter their patterns. There was a while ago, I talked about a podcast where they looked at how light night lights, like street lights or those things, are affecting predator-prey interactions. Prey start to select sites that are lighter, and predators are more successful in the darker areas. This is another way that predators are becoming more successful in the fact that they are able to target these prey as they are being more active at night. Also, it's going to alter habitat. we're definitely altering the habitat that they use. There are habitat areas that are going to be more preferential. They like the wide open meadows, the grasses, the forbs, but you start pushing them into these deep conifer, and it's not the greatest habitat. It's not something that they're going to want to use as much, and so you start to change the way they have to use their habitat. And again, it goes back to that energy expenditure and reduce foraging opportunities because they're having to now travel from preferred at night to the non-preferred during the day. Another one that people may not like, but human wildlife viewing. You've got those non-consumptive users of wildlife, those photographers. They are not going to see wildlife nearly as much because I know my opportunity to view wildlife, I don't have any tags, but my opportunity to view them has definitely decreased because now they're in that thicker canopy cover, that thicker tree cover, and it's just creating problems. But here's the one thing that makes me a little bit uncomfortable. I came across a paper that talked about reproductive success. By altering this, by creating and putting a lot of pressure on these animals, we are possibly reducing their reproductive success. Bulls have less time mating with cows. And if there's areas where we are targeting the older bulls, whether it's a point restriction or whatnot, then there's gonna be some problems there. You're gonna have some males, these bulls, these young bulls, if they are the ones that are left, they're going to be a little less successful. They're not as experienced. The other thing, you're going to lose more of them because they spend so much energy fighting these young guys that they haven't been able to put on the fat the way they should because they're trying to grow their body, they're trying to grow antlers, and then all this testosterone, now they start fighting, and so they're going to have higher mortality rates. And then because there's so much pressure, you got less females being bred, and so it just creates a whole lot of problems. I think the challenge is how do we create a scenario which you have a good rut going on where you've got mature males, females having enough time, as well as it's just a challenge. What do you do? I don't know. What are you supposed to do? Because these animals need to reproduce. They need to have time to rut, but then you have to allow for access. And it just, depending on the amount of pressure that's going on, can just disrupt and create a whole lot of chaos and problems. I don't know. It's a challenge because you got the ag guys pulling their cattle off, their sheep off. They need to go about their thing, so we all have food to eat. And then the hunters who are paying for the tags, they also need to go about their time. I guess it's just making sure that there's enough habitat available for the animals that you have, and trying to create it in such a way that you allow hunters access, wildlife, people who are into viewing wildlife access. Everybody needs access, and these animals, I don't know. It's just a challenge. What do you do? Not sure. But I think for me, the main thing that I take away from this is having enough habitat. So there's an area in northern Utah where we've got a lot of good habitat and we've got a lot of elk. But then we go out west here on that Utah-Nevada border where I was just at, and there was 25 head of elk, and the habitat was horrible. If we inundated that landscape with people, I think that would have a far larger impact than what we see where I currently live. I think so. I think one of it is making sure you have enough habitat to cover the amount of elk. I don't know. That's what I got for today. So I hope you guys have a great day. If you have any comments, questions, let me know. these are all challenging topics, I guess. That's what I got for today.